Right, good afternoon all. Welcome back to the Java Swing app for beginners, Java beginners, or Java developers beginners, the Java programming language for beginners. Today I want us to look into this Swing application development, and specifically we are going to talk about the Java Swing or Java UI, not only Swing, and we want to look into functionalities and functionalities. Then we will look into data validation, okay, and maybe some other things here. We're going to work with the previous UI we have already generated, which I think this is the program. Let me increase the font. The font size so we see it clearly. I think 20 will be okay. Let's see. 10 is visible, right? Let's make it 20. Instead of us zooming instead of zooming the complete UI, let's zoom the code so we see it clearly. When I run, this is what we have. We were developing this program last time and we couldn't finish, and I think we have to close because of time. I think there is a button here supposed to be here, which we call a row, right? A row. And you know, actually the application doesn't look so nice because no UI layout managers were used. We shall start using layout managers later. And also we are going to use drag and drop, but I want us to understand something here. Let's finish the UI as it is. Let me introduce the button where we are going to say private J button BTN. This is the convention. BTN, let's say BTN capture or BTN register. Let's say register. I think it will be, or that to be, sorry, J button. Right? J button. Right? This okay. So this is the name of the button. Then you come into your constructor. Constructor begins here. Yes, I was supposed to write something like this. So inside the constructor, you initialize it by saying this is where initialization stopped. You now introduce it as new. Please, you ask questions. Don't let me go without you asking questions where necessary. Then you initialize the button as something. I can say register, I can say capture. That's what the user is going to see here. So register. Okay. Then I then add the button somewhere here. Right? Panel dot add the button register, right? Is it okay? Already panel has been added onto the what? Adding the panel onto the GFrame, right? So these have been done already, so you don't need to repeat. We only added one component. When I run, of course there is going to be something. This is actually because I haven't saved. I asked it to always save. You see, so let me just pick it. Let it be linear. So that means I'm going to add the width, right? And this is the width. Let me make it 780. I added 100 pixels. Let's see, is it going to work? It is nearly, let's say 850. Okay, so I think it's okay now, right? See, the UI is relatively okay, but it's not all that okay actually, because it's supposed not to be something like this. Like when we come to layout managers, we're going to state how it's going to look like, and it will look fine as any other native app. The same thing as this is a button, but it's different business logic. What we are doing here is different from the assignment given to you. You understand? We want to just capture information for a given local government staff and store it. All right? But then there could be some things we need to look into. All right? Validations of all this, and that's what we are going to do today. What I wanted to do is, if I click on this button, it registers the staff into the database, so we have a record for the staff. But as I'm clicking, nothing is happening. Why? Because this button is dormant as of now. It is dormant. Nothing is happening. Nothing. So you need to give it functionality. That is what I'm trying to do now. I don't know if you are getting it. Give it functionality. How do you give it functionality? So to implement functionality for a given I don't know what happened. I opened this before. Trying to scroll to the page I'm supposed to write in. Right, I think this is the okay. This is the page. Okay, I wrote something and alright, so this is it. I want to add functionality because if I click on the button as it is like this, nothing is happening. So how do we do that? So to add functionality, there are some things you need to look into. The first thing is that you have to create kind of implementation for there's something we call here at the class declaration over here. This is how we declare the class. Public class. This is the name of the class, which is the class identifier, extends GFrame. So if I want to add in functionality, I have to implement. So when I introduce something, implement. Implements. I think capital I. Is it capital or small? Implements. What? Action is capital, right? Implement action listener. So this is the declaration of those class from here to this point was what we did. It enables you to do Geo. If it is only console, you don't need you stopped here, right? Public class. Then the class name, which is staff enrollment, you stop here and terminate with your delimiter, which is a curly bracket. But when you say extends JFrame, you are inheriting the properties of the JFrame, and that JFrame is a built-in file from Yusuf. Window. It's a built-in file, and built-in file developed by the Java developers. So you inherit it, and when you move to say implement action listener, you want to implement kind of functionalities. I don't know if you are getting it. please, anything you do in programming, make sure that you know the reason why you are writing it and the reason why you are not writing something, or the reason why you are removing. That's when you actually going to perfect it. Okay. So if you look at the functionality here, I mean, in action listener, there is an error message, right? Because you want to implement something, so it's prompting you to add in kind of implementation for this, the method that implement this. So if you click on it, just click. Are you seeing what is there displayed? Import action listener. So if you click, it will go off. All right. Then after doing that, come to here again. It asks you to add an unimplemented method. Please understand what I'm doing. Because we want to implement, so it asks you to add allow the system to add it for you, or you can add it yourself. Just click on this add unimplemented method. Can you see the error message is gone? Then you move down to, can you see something here? Overridden, something override. Okay, this is something added by the IDE for you to add functionalities. I don't know if you are getting it. So this now, I don't need this. This is a comment. So this is where you add functionality. But actually, this is what we call adding functionality via what we call. So here you add the implements action listener. So this one will add in the class declaration. This I'm just writing like a note to you. In the class what? Declaration. Right? So this is what you add. There is P, right? Implement. Okay, let me give it something like this. Then secondly, add the unimplemented method for the action listener action perform. You can do this yourself. Look at it. Action perform. This is a method, right? So you add this method, and then it's a parametric something. You add an action event within it. Yes, that's action event. It's a parameter. It is a parameter. This I'm answering it. This method, public void action performed. The method name is action performed, right? Because we want to trigger. If you click on this button, you're triggering something. So whenever you click, what do you want it done? The event. That is what we're talking about. When you click, an event happens, right? So this method handles the event, but then it's a parametric method, and parametric in the sense that it has a parameter within it. The parameter it has is an event, and that event has this is the object of the event. E is the object of the event. You can write your name if you like. It can take anything. It could be A, it could be whatever. And then actually by convention we use E. So don't confuse yourself. Alright? So that is it. A good question, very good question. So you write action perform method down there. Add the action perform. Action performed method. And then your functionalities as required functionalities follows. Right? So I don't know whether it is understood. I'm trying to write something for you so you can refer back to it whenever you're creating something. You see, here we are hard coding. The reason why we are hard coding, we're not using drag and drop for the first time, is for us to understand how it is being done. Later when we start drag and drop, you understand all this. If someone asks you what is action event, This is an event, of course. It's a parameter to the action performed, and this is the event. This is the object for the event, right? So this is like a kind of a class, you know, that is the handling the event, but it's a parameter. So you write your something here. I can now say end of the action performed. Action performed method. So this is where you write. Is it understood? So now what do we want to write? You could have more than one button. This is the reason why we're writing something in there. If you have more than one button, you need to state, okay, I have a button called closed, for example. So let me add another button so we understand clearly what we're saying. So come up here. Let me add another button here. See, private J button, btn what? No, not cancel. Btn close or exit. Okay. So come down here. Panel, register it. Sorry, you do call adding it. Add what? Add btn close. I like the IntelliSense for this IDE. The IDE knows that btn register been added, so it populates btn close first before the. So now it is added. Now I want to start working with the buttons. Let me start by the button. Like there is a problem somewhere. Okay, sorry, this has not been initialized. I'm sorry. So it's telling me something. Please, when you come across error message, don't be panic. Let's read out through this error message. It says cannot read failed parent because campus now. Java null is telling you that container add implement at this point. So it tells you initialization. Can you see something in it here? Let me magnify for you to see. This is good. So let's see. Let's understand some things here. Oh, sorry. It's telling you that it has not been initialized and it is being the control has been used without it being initialized. This is the error message. That's why it is introducing this init problem, this init method. This init error. So it's telling you the line number. If you click, it takes you to where the problem is residing. Can you see? It's telling you that this is the problem highlighted. So please initialize it as it is being for other buttons. This magnifier, I'm not happy with it. It's lean. It's making the system somehow. Let me close it. Like I think I have to get a third-party magnifier. btn close equals to new j button btn what? Just give it close. No, there will be no btn. Just say close. If you like, you can say exit, pending what you want. So let me run. Alright, so that means we need to increase the width as well. Let's make it 900. I think it's okay, right? It's alright. So if I click on close, something's supposed to happen, really. And if I click on this, so let's start with the close since it is minor. What I want is immediately when I click on close, the GFrame should just go off, should just disappear. So to do that, you come to here. The name of the object, it's E here, so you call it E. Alright, so you just introduce your control structure because we're having more than one button. You now say if e.get source, so you see here we're implementing via get source. There's another way you implement via inner class. Actually, if you're having very much large number of codes, you're supposed to use inner class, not get source. If this is equals to logical equals to btn close, right? What does this mean? It means if the btn close is the one being clicked, this is the meaning. So what do? You should close. You now say this dot what? Dispose. Alright? This dot dispose. Alright? So let's try it. If I click on this, nothing happens. If I click on this, alright, I did not register the button. Sorry, this button is supposed to be registered. It's happening, but it wasn't registered on the GFrame. So please come over here after adding it. Before you close, somewhere here you now say registering the buttons, registering buttons on the GFrame. Okay, button number 1 is btn what? Close. That add action listener. This is how you register button on the GFrame. So I've done for only one. Now let me run. If I click, this has not been registered. Even if it has been registered on the GFrame, it has not been given any functionality, right? So if I click on close, can you see? It has closed. Alright? So that means we are done with one. So let me register the next button. btn register. Okay, dot add action listener. What this means? It's referring to the GFrame. Alright, it's referring to the GFrame itself, like it's referring to the class. So for this now, it has been registered, but no functionalities were added. Let's test whether this button is working correctly. Okay, I want to make sure that something has been added here. So I'm moving towards what we call validation here, data validation. You see, you don't allow somebody to do kind of just collect maybe ID and local government without collecting name. This data is not correct, right? So let's do something. Let's add the validation to make sure that something. So now we want to add in functionalities for what? For the register button. Please understand first. Video is being recorded, and understand it first. So I want to introduce another functionality, and I want to say else what? Else what? Else if. Because I'm introducing another functionality. That means if btn close is not the one being clicked, alright? Else if, okay? Else if what? btn register, alright? That gets us. Alright? Are we understanding? That gets us what? Sorry, I made a mistake. It's supposed to be E here, right? E, then btn register. If this is I don't know what you're saying. Okay. Sorry. What's wrong with else? One word? Alright, so we're trying to say that if this is not the source of the event. Then we try another button. Okay, if you don't get source. So I want to start doing some things here, please. What I wanted to do is to check whether this control has been populated with the data. How do we do that? What is the name of this text box? I think staff name, right? Right? So let's say txt staff ID, not staff ID. I think it's txt name, no staff. Right? Txt name dot get text. I want to get what is there first. Get text. Right? Dot to string. Well, the text is not a string. It is the text field, so you need to convert it to string. That's the reason why I said dot to string. So I want to check if someone asks me, this is the way we write program, by using control structure to check on something to move to. Yes, that's how we write program. Of course, if statement must be used. Yeah, it is the easier control structure you use to check on something. I want to check whether it is null. So I can now say dot equals. Please don't say this. Dot equals to no. For text, for string, you don't use this. It is not correct. Okay? You can see someone smiling. You know, he encountered problem here with that. It will not work. So if you want to check whether a string is populated or you want to check on a string, please use equals. Please understand this. Let me magnification gives me problem here. You see dot equals objects, dot equals ignore case. Please use ignore case. So you don't. It becomes caseless sensitive. You don't have problem with the case. I don't know if you get it. All right. Okay. What is this? This means null. If it equals nulls, then you do something, tells user that he has to populate that. He has to put in there. So how do you tell user? You can write through console, but actually we're not doing console up here. But let's start with the console. You now say sys out, right? Is it? System.out.println. If nothing has been written there, it tells user that maybe, sorry, name cannot be empty, for example, pending your language or something, what you doing. So let's try it. Nothing is there, right? And I click. Can you see something here? Sorry, name cannot be empty because nothing has been written there. What if you write something and you click? Of course, it's supposed to erase this, right? So probably maybe before I write here, before I write something here, I'll now say okay, let me put it this way. Else, that means if it is populated, right? When I say else, what is the meaning? If it is populated, I don't like this your silence. That means you guys are not understanding. Here I'm checking whether if it is blank, right? This means it is blank. You know, in C# you say string.empty, right? But here this is what you do. I don't like this your silence actually. So here we say if it is not populated, we do this. If it is populated, let me write something here different from what is there. So we alternate. Let me say good data supplied, for example. Maybe you understand what I mean. And now I'm running. Okay. When I run, first of all, I click on this. It tells me what? Sorry, name cannot be empty. Now, I wrote below. If I click, it tells me good. Data supplied. Or data is being supplied. Or has been. I don't know. And what is the data supplied? Huh? Name, is it not? Yes, you can now call this guy. You can now say txt name dot get text. You want to get what is in there, dot to string. Alright? You know, I have to concatenate here, right? Yeah. No, this is supposed to be written where? Yeah, I need to concatenate. Yes. Concatenation. Do we understand concatenation? Connecting two strings, right? Good. So, if I click, it says, sorry, name cannot be empty. Okay? Then, sorry, let me remove part of this. Then I write again. Let me say Shamsu. Can you see? Good. Data has been supplied. What is the data supplied? Shamsu. Now, but this is not our implementation. This is console. Now let's use Geo. I want to populate a dialog box for you to tell you that there is a problem. That's what we call J option pen. So let me add it. That's why I said we're going to add a lot of things here. Here, let me say adding functionalities. Using a.getSource, right? Well, let me just say using getSource. That's the method, right? getSource. Next, J option pen. Implement pop-up menu, or what do you call dialog box. Dialog box with what? J option pen. So please, let's do it. Here we are validating. Of course, it's under validation. Actually, I'm supposed to write this. Huh? What? Huh? Thank you. J option pen. I'm so much. The mouth says it, and the hand did not write correctly. So I'm removing the else part here. And I will remove this. So let's write. How do we write J option pen? This is the way. Now write J option pen dot, sorry, option, J option pen dot. What kind of J option pen? We have them many. It's error message, right? Error message. So you give us how many things? Look at it before I pick it. Error message. You say? Sorry, J option pen dot show. Thank you. Dot show message dialog. Thank you. Dot show message. Can you see how many parameters do I have here? 2 parameters. Here I have how many? I need the one with 3 parameters. I can pick this one and I format it to 3 different parameters. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. The first one here, this this can just be this. It's referring to the dialog box. Just make it null. I think. Then here, Joe message dialog box. Yes, I think. Are we right? Let me check from the these are the books I sent to you. Okay, this one has to do with I want to pick from all-in-one text reference for dummies. Yeah, J of Champagne. So we don't waste time. Right? Right, what I did is correct, only that I was confused. The last one here. Alright, so let's study it together. Look at what I wanted doing here. J option show message. The first thing here is null, but you can stipulate the meaning of this null. You can detect where you want the J option pen to appear. If you want it at the center of the page, then you leave it as it is. Then you bring in two things here, some two messages, and then the kind of message you want, the kind of option pen you want. I think that is what I did. Here I'm supposed to say J option pen. J option pen. That error message, right? This is it. So here, let's say error in data entry. Please enter name. For example, let's run. This place is hot. So if I click, can you see nothing is being what? Entered. So it tells me what? Error in data entry. Can you see okay, I made a mistake. It's supposed to, you understand, the message should come first, then the title for, yes. So look at it. I was supposed to use this for this should be the message, right? This is the message. Please enter name. Then what should be the title of the dialog box? Error in data entry. So if I click, it tells me, please enter name. Error in what? Data entry. This is it. Please let's understand the dialog box here. J option put the show message dialog. And this null means it should appear at the center of the page. If I click, can you see it's at the center of the page? But if I want it to be somewhere, then I specify. If I want it to be at where the button is, where this button BTN register is located, then I do it this way. If I click, can you see where it is, coming up? I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying. But then actually, I think the best implementation is to use the null, so it should be at the center of the page, so no one is going to have issue with everyone sees it when it comes out. So you see, this is kind of validation we are implementing, such that somebody doesn't really supply data halfway. Then another thing we need to check on this, how does the system detect that I wrote something like this? Is this correct? When somebody writes digits, is it correct? No. So how do you detect? How do you know that someone supplies digit? Because no name contains digit. Even if name contains digit, for example, some people that are writing so person 1 and 2, but there should be what? Text before the name, before the digits, right? No, somebody's name is 10 or 2 digits. It could be 10, for example. It could be 10. I don't know, but it has to be in text. Yes. Maybe you check that on your own. There are some ways, there are some methods we use. We check on is digit, is string. Is string, is digit, is whatever. I think if you check from this book, I think you could get some. It's digit. I don't know, maybe I did not do the right search. And I think it's important that I'll publish you with this kind of methods where you can check whether, you see, where numbers are needed, you don't need text, right? So you check is digit, is whatever, and then if it is not, then you capture the stack, the exception. It's a kind of exception. So this now is done, and then for all this, for the rest, you need to do all this for the rest. You need to do for ID, staff ID. You need to do for local government, and it's very simple. You just say else if something. All right. Then you check txt. I think staff ID. The get text. But to string, I'm converting it to string. Dot equals ignore case. Then you check. That means you're referring to it as something. I think the error message is going to be same, only that you change this. Please enter what? Staff ID. Thank you. It's something, same. Error in data entry. Then else if txt what? Local government. How is it there? How is it named? Yes, LGA. No, I like the get text. Dot to string, right? Dot equals ignore case. All right. Then I think something only that here you are considering LG. Thank you. So we've done for all. We've done for all. So now that means validation has been done. The next thing is to push these things into database. And doing that actually not now. No, we can't do that now because we need to study how we connect, how we install the JDBC, how we connect to database. All right. Then we create database that will accept these things, and then we push. But actually, of course, it is already there. It's there already. If you can see the last session we did, this is what we did with the last session. Only that we have changed the business logic. This time around is local government. But I want us to do something. Let me introduce another IDE. Sorry, another control like what? Okay, if I run, that means you are validating all. If you click, it tells you enter name. Alright? Then if you enter name, Shamsu, you are the questioner, right? If you click, it tells you either enter ID. Then you enter ID maybe 00, whatever. I don't know how the staff ID in local government are, but then let's just imagine it is maybe 001, for example. I don't know. Maybe we'll check before the time. The local government of origin, say, let's say Kaduna South. So validations or everything has been entered, right? If you click on register, it does nothing. Why? We haven't given it any functionality to do anything. Only ask it to check to validate, right? So this is what I want to do. I want to collect all this data you have entered. Let's display it on the GFrame itself. Okay, or let's display it on a given component. Rather,
now what we have done,
let's introduce a given component down here. Let's introduce one component called. Can we do that now? But we can display it on GFrame. It's not a problem. Alright, let's display on GFrame. So we're going to add the functionality here to display it on GFrame. So this is where you say else if, else if. The last one is else if all these are not there. That's the meaning, right? That means if validation is done correctly. So this is where you start doing your functionalities. So functionalities begins here, right? The registration begins here. But for now we are not going to do. Maybe I don't know if we can start it tomorrow. Then we have to do kind of simple introduction to the integration of all these that then registration begins. Can we do it tomorrow? So I prepare something. Huh? So we don't waste time, right? Registration begins here, right? So I want us to add it to display it on the GFrame here. So what is the GFrame? We said GFrame, we're referring to the GFrame as what? As this, right? So let's test if it work. This dot add something, right? So let's collect all these things first. This is what we do. Please, you try to create a very nice looking code. Don't just jump pack things. So when somebody comes to maintain, it will be easier for him. I can now say, okay, string. Let me introduce some local variables here. String name equals to what is name? So I want to collect txt name, the get text, dot string. So what have I done here, please? I've collected name, right? And I stored it where? Yes. This is the value. I've collected whatever entered there, and I stored it where? Sorry, I stored it where? In the name, right? Is it not? So next string txt. This stuff ID it's the system that will generate it. Yes, here is the system that will generate. Yes, and then we're going to see how we're going to do that. First of all, we insert it, later we remove, and we let system generate it, so you don't make mistake. Let's see, maybe if there are some things we have to adhere to, then txt.getText .getText dot string. All right, string what? Staff ID. This is a local variable declaration. String, what is the last one? LGA, right? LGA equals txt LGA. The get text to string. Okay, string. There is R here. There should be R. So we've done that. So now I want us to kind of add these things to the GFrame. This dot add component, right? Yes, we add component. Kind of component. I think the first thing here is name. No, it's not adding. We are setting. Sorry. This is the set. What? We're adding on a component or not. We need to have one component, add these things on it, then we add it on the GFrame. That would be the easiest thing. For example, let me add another text box. We call it information, for example. Okay, or just label. Let me add a label. We call it information. Then we add it on panel, and then we set it there. Private JLabel. Let's make it if it is labeled to just display like this staff name. I want it to display like this, for example, something like this down here. Okay, private JText field. Let's just say txt info. Okay, then we initialize it down here. It thinks supposed to be here. Let me initialize it equals to new. JText field. Let me give it a lengthy character. Let's say 60, so we don't have issue with spacing. Then you bring it in here and add it on the panel. Or this, yes, before the button. And now this, say this panel dot add component. You see, this is the right way of doing it. Okay, so info, so we come down here. It has been added, but nothing is in it. So come down here and call it. Okay, just say this is it, right? You now say set text, right? That means I'm setting the text of this to distance one name, okay, plus staff ID. I don't know if it is understood. Staff ID plus, that means concatenation, right? LGA, right? But then if you run it, maybe we'll have to correct it later. Why not we bring it down here? You know where I added it, right? It was added above here. Let me add it after the panel, after the buttons. Thank you. All right. course it doesn't look good, but then we know what we're doing. Let's just don't want to use all these things because of time. The main aim for today's lesson is to understand how you add functionalities. So let me run it again. Shamsu 001, for example, Kaduna South. If I click on register, can you see what it has done? I collected everything and it displayed where? On the info, for example. Or it could be different things. It could be that there is information for info name, info staff number, info local government, then it populates in each and every one. But here it looks somehow. Maybe you introduce some kind of things here, like maybe spacing. All right. Okay. 1, 2. Spacing. 1, 2. This we are just testing functionality, but that's not the aim of our something here. And then what? Kaduna South. Then you click on what? Register. Can you see how it separated it? For example, this is just we're just trying to make sure that the button is working and it is populating, and we have validated. The main aim is when we click on register, it does what? It will do what? Insert into the database. That is our aim. But that I think will be done tomorrow, inshallah. We see how we can do that, and then we have to stop here for